Hello there, Mike the MC, bringing another self-care video. Today I'm going to share with you number 236 of the Catechism with respect to presentation and the material. And the idea here is, with the presentation, it helps the material stand out. And even in fact, in a way, just the fact that I'm wearing a suit and tie right here, right? I just had a moment today at my work to kind of talk with you all, and it's like, okay, this kind of helps the theme of the video, because the whole idea here is, if you see me in a suit and tie, you're like, oh, okay, what's Mike the MC now doing in a suit and tie? Did he do a session with the client? Did he work with somebody? Like, where did he come from? And it's like, okay, where's the context? What's the situation here? And the idea here is presentation, like what I'm wearing, what you're wearing, or whatever color the item is, or however you put stickers on the refrigerator, etc., makes that item stand out. That's the idea. How do you help an item stand out? And so I'm going to share with you how God stands out in our reality, but then by how standing out, it reveals a bit of something about Him in the context of who He is. And you're really getting an idea of what makes God so unique in those moments of presentation. So let me share with you number 236 to drive the point. So 236 of the Catechism states the following. The Fathers of the Church distinguished between theology, and the economy. The theology refers to the mystery of God's inmost life within the Blessed Trinity, and economy to all the works by which God reveals Himself and communicates His life. Through the oikonomia, the theologia is revealed to us, but conversely, the theologia illuminates the whole oikonomia. God's works reveal who He is in Himself. The mystery of His inmost being enlightens our understanding of all His works. So it is analogously, among human persons. A person discloses himself in his actions, and the better we know a person, the better we understand his actions. I know I kind of messed up many of those words. I butchered many of those words in the definition of what 236 was saying, but the whole idea here is, let me take a moment. The idea of presentation, it illuminates the item. The presentation illuminates the item. And by looking at that, we wonder, okay, how is it that when we dress, when we present ourselves to people, okay, how does presentation really bring about an energy to somebody else? How does that help us understand who that person is, he or she is, in the context of where we see them? So I see somebody at church, I see somebody in the grocery store, and I see them wearing rich clothes, poor clothes, etc. Okay, so then I have assumptions of who that person may be based on what I see in this context of being in the store or the church. And now think of it like this, where connecting it back to God, if I see a person on the street and they're not living very well, do I see God in that person? Yes, I do. Because God is in everyone and in every part of creation. And when I recognize in that context the idea of poverty, the idea that, okay, life is struggle. Life is full of struggles for all of us to live with. And if there are people out there that we're not helping and we're ignoring them, it's like, okay, that's a reflection of ourself as well in that presentation, that illumination, because it's like a mirror effect. You see something, and how it comes back to you teaches you about yourself, who you are. And so what we have to do, coming to know our Lord in each context of where we are in situations, how do we find our Lord in the moment, but then how do we conversely bring ourselves into that person's shoes, that situation? How do we take the moment to be at peace and to really think, how is it that I can relate to somebody in a moment? How is it that I can work with somebody if I'm having a counseling session, some work session, some project? How do I relate to that person, right? How do I think back and say, okay, behind that person's phone, okay, they're messaging somebody or looking at their media, okay, maybe they're bored, whatever, but you recognize that they're looking in their own world of what they perceive in their perspective. So if you're able to tap into that person's perspective, to talk with them, and you recognize and reflect, okay, I was once that person in this context, now I need some help as far as coming to know and understand how I can relate to them, or how they teach me a lesson as far as how I can relate back to my friends and family, so I'm not so reclusive, distant, right? There's a purpose behind our actions, and when you find that purpose in the context of God and everything, that is a beautiful connection with the Catechism right there that I'll share with you. And that's how the economy with everything works with the presentation of God and theology, the teaching of who He is as the one who came and created everything. But you can see that example through the Bible, a book, right? But more than just the written Bible, It's how we live each day. So faith and action really come into play in this part of 236 of the Catechism, and I hope you recognize that. But don't give up on yourself. Keep pushing hard. Keep striving to become the best version you can be. Keep learning. Always study, and never give up on that. When you improve your abilities, other people around you will improve as well, because you're allowing them to work on their talents and abilities in a different context. And so that's how you and I become important leaders in different parts of our lives, and not give up on other people, and be patient and allow our students to thrive. And so let us be generous, good leaders, and always remember that when we're helping our friends and family, talking with other people, that they too, like us, are going through things, and we have to recognize that and be patient and respectful and help other people in the economy and theology of faith, and recognize God in all of that. Alright everyone, hope this video finds you well today. Go out there, recognize that you and I have things to do in different contexts, and that in each different context there's people that we're working with, and whether we are on good terms or not, let us recognize that there's somebody going through a situation, and you and I can recognize God in the moment. Alright everyone, hope this video finds you well today. Take care, have a good one.